we cross the vast and formidable ocean of his desire. Purport. The previous chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam clearly explained that King Yudhishthira intensely desired to that demonstrate to the world the supremacy of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the blessings received by those who surrender to him. To do this, King Yudhishthira performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, a very difficult task. Srila Prabhupada writes in this connection, in the material world, everyone has a particular type of desire to be fulfilled, but one is never able to fulfill his desire to his full satisfaction. But King Yudhishthira, because of his unflinching devotion to Krishna, could fulfill all desires successfully by performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. For from the description of the Rajasuya Yajna, it appears that such a function is a great ocean of opulent desires. It is not possible for an ordinary man to cross over such an ocean. Nevertheless, by the grace of Lord Krishna, King Yudhishthira was able to cross over it very easily, and thus he became free from all anxiety. Hare Krishna. Tamil translation, please.
இதுதான் பரமபுத்திரரான யுதிஷ்டிர மகாராஜன் பகவான் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணரின் கல்வியால் கருத்தரிகளும் கலந்ததுமான தனது ஆசை கடலை வெற்றிகரமாக கடந்து கடைசியில் தனது ஆசை தீவிலிருந்து நிறுத்தப்படாகும் பரமபுருஷரான ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணரின் உயர்வையும் அவரிடம் சரணமடைபவர்கள் அடையப்படும் ஆசைகளையும் உலகிற்கு எடுத்துக் காட்டவே யுதிஷ்டிரர் தீவிர விருப்பம் கொண்டார் என்பதை ஸ்ரீமத் பாகவதத்தின் முக்கிய அத்தியாயங்கள் தெளிவாக விளக்குகின்றன. இதை செய்வதற்காக கிருஷ்ணர் மிக கடினமான ராத்திரி சூழ்ச்சி யாகத்தை நடத்தினார். இது தொடர்பாக சில பருவமாக எழுதுவது ஜட உலகில் குறிப்பிட்ட ஆசையை நிறைவேற்றிக் கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்ற விருப்பமும் ஒவ்வொருவருக்கும் உண்டு. ஆனால் தனது ஆசைகளை ஒருவனால் திருப்திகரமாக நிறைவேற்றிக் கொள்ள முடியவில்லை. ஆனால் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணரின் உறுதியான பக்தி கொண்டதால் யுதிஷ்டிர மகாராஜரால் ராஜ்யத்தின் மூலமாக அவரது விருப்பங்களை எல்லாம் வெற்றிகரமாக நிறைவேற்றிக் கொள்ள முடிந்தது. ராஜசூய யாகத்தின் வர்ணனைகளிலிருந்து இத்தகைய ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சி பெரும் ஆசைகள் அடைந்த மகா சாஸ்திரம் போல் காணப்படுகிறது. சாதாரண மனிதனுக்கு இத்தகைய ஒரு சமுத்திரத்தை கடப்பது சாத்தியமற்றது. ஆயினும் பகவான் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணரின் கருணையால் யுதிஷ்டிர மகாராஜ் சுலபமாக அதை கலந்துவிட்டார். இவ்வாறாக அவர் எல்லா கவலைகளிலிருந்து விடுபட்டவராவார்.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome. Vanakkam.
Welcome.
So, oh really? Yeah. That's why I was saying, oh, you keep fast. So this chapter is interesting, but very short chapter. Very short chapter. It's about Duryodhana being humiliated. Okay. But before that, this chapter starts with Parikshit Maharaj asking Sukadeva Goswami. Everybody was very satisfied from the Rajasuya sacrifice. You know, the Rajasuya sacrifice, it satisfied everyone, all the sages, the devas, the people who attended it, even those who are envious of Yudhishthira, so they also were satisfied. But there was only one personality that was really not satisfied, and that personality was Duryodhana. Okay, very strange, you know. Actually, very strange. Yeah, this chapter you read, you'll get a bit confused. So Sukadeva Goswami began to describe to Parikshit Maharaj what happened in the Rajasuya sacrifice. The culmination of the Rajasuya sacrifice is that Yudhishthira Maharaj will take bath in the Ganga, clean himself, and then after he cleanses himself, he will give appropriate donation to all those who came. The devas, the brahmanas, the sages, the kings, even the wives of the devas, everything. Great description is there. And it was a very festive atmosphere. Not only Yudhishthira took bath in the Ganga, the devas also came to take bath. the devas, the queens of all the kings, they took bath in the Ganga and they had water sports. It was a very joyous thing, very, very happy occasion. So after the ceremony of Rajasuya sacrifice was concluded, what do you call, Yudhishthir Maharaj was supposed to thank everybody that came, thank them. So he was thanking all the kings that came because they all have to go back to the kingdom. But when he came to Krishna, Yudhishthir Maharaj was like, he was like very, very morose and very sad because the whole purpose for the purpose of performing the Rajasuya sacrifice is actually just to glorify Krishna. It says here in the purport, no? It's actually for the purpose of glorifying Krishna. And he was so broken hearted that Krishna now is about to leave. So he begged Krishna from the bottom of his eyes, with tears in his eyes. He said, Krishna, please don't go. I've done this just because I wanted you to come. Now you want to go. Please don't go. So Krishna looked at Yudhishthira and said, no problem, it's okay. I'll send back my children, my wives, all I'll send back. I'll stay here for a few months with you. Yudhishthira was so happy. He was not happy that the Rajasuya sacrifice was completed. He was happy that Krishna decided to stay. Because the purpose that he performed this was to glorify Krishna, to show that anybody who's a devotee of Krishna is by all means glorified in every possible way. What is impossible becomes possible. And this Rajasuya sacrifice is the most opulent of all sacrifices. So much so that I'll read you one line here. This is text 4. This one really blew me away. Text 4. 4. Okay. The Rajasuya sacrifice was so huge that everybody was engaged. The Kauravas, every single person was engaged. So this is a description of who was engaged in what. Bhima supervised the kitchen. How many millions and hundreds of millions of personalities came, must feed them. So Bhima was in charge of the kitchen manager. Duryodhana looked after the treasury. Duryodhana was in charge of the treasury. That means the money required to do this Rajasuya sacrifice, he was in charge. Duryodhana, what was needed he gave, and he was supposed to take care of the wealth. After we'll talk about a little bit about that. Then Sahadeva respectfully greeted the arriving guest. The arriving guest is greeted by Sahadeva. Nakula procured needed items. He is the role of our Narutamala. Arjuna attended the respectable elders. Those who are very, very, senior, very respectable VIPs, like how we treat politicians when we have festivals. We have assigned somebody to take care of them. Very important VVIP. So this Nakula, that's his job, lah. And Krishna washed everyone's feet. Krishna washed everyone's feet. Who is Krishna? Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. What is he doing? He's washing everybody that comes, their feet need to be washed. He washed their feet. Krishna did that. Krishna is doing this to put a point across. The point is told by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trina Rapi Sunichana, Darurapi Saishuna, Amanimana Jena Kirtinya Sudhari. One must be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of sense of all false prestige, and ready to give respect to others. Only then one can join the holy name of the Lord constantly. Krishna washed everyone's feet while Draupadi served with the food. Draupadi was the chief, what they call them? The waiters, or they have one leader. What do you call that? I don't know. Forgot it. So Draupadi was in charge of serving the food. Generous Karna also. Karna gave out the gifts. Why? Because he was famous as the He was famous for giving charity. So he was in charge of giving all the gifts. Okay. Many others such as Yudhana, Vitarna, Hardyatya, Vidura, Burishwara, and other sons of Balika and Santardana similarly volunteered for various duties during the elaborate sacrifice. They did so because of their eagerness to please Maharaj Yudhishthira, O best of kings. Even Duryodhana, being an enemy of the Pandavas, was so enchanted by Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira's personality was so enchanting. He is known as the one who does not have any enemies because of his behavior, because of the way he behaves. So this is like, this one is really fantastic. I read this and I couldn't understand. So while Duryodhana was in charge of the treasury, his enviousness became even more, and he was so much in shock. Why? Because in his lifetime he has never seen the amount of wealth that he was put in charge of. The amount of gold, amount of jewels, amount of wealth. I mean, unbelievable. Just could not. He was stunned. You know, and in Mahabharata, I had to read Mahabharata to find out what to talk. There's nothing to talk. So in Mahabharata, it described there that this Duryodhana in that Rajasuya sacrifice was talking to Saguni, his uncle, and he was telling him, "I don't understand these Pandavas. From childhood, I've been trying to kill them off. I tried everything, but it seems their glory is just getting more and more and more. How is this happening? And the amount of wealth they require to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice, I cannot even begin to explain. He cannot, cannot even know words to explain. So he was so shocked and so taken aback. So much so that in Mahabharata he explained there that during the night time, when everybody is taking rest, Duryodhana and Saguni will go to the palace of Indraprastha, that means the palace of the Pandavas in Indraprastha, to go and spy. What is this palace like? What are the Pandavas doing in the palace? They will do that. There's so much envy within their heart. So much envy. Their envy is actually, envy is a very kind word. The level of envy is like unbelievable, because the attempts on the lives of the Pandavas, there are so many. And we know just a few of it. The one that we heard of is Duryodhana will give Bhima poison to eat. And Bhima is so powerful that he won't die. He will just pengsan. He will just faint. And this Duryodhana, not knowing what to do, he would tie his feet, tie his hand, throw him into the river. That was one. And by arrangement of Krishna, what happened was the poison knocked him out. While he was in the river, he was bitten by some snakes, nagas. They bite him. So the poison from the nagas mixed with the poison that was in his body, it became lethal. Krishna's plan, very nice plan. So this is how he came back, and Duryodhana was shocked. I thought I killed you already. He came back. And then of course there's the famous house of Lack. On the pretext of going for picnic, they wanted to burn them alive. And there were so many attempts like that. And Duryodhana was just utterly confused, could not understand. So out of enviousness, they went to spy. They wanted to spy the palace. They heard so much about it, how much opulent and all that. So one day, what happened was Duryodhana decided to pay a visit to Maharaj Yudhishthira. This is after the Rajasuya sacrifice. So while Yudhishthira Maharaj was in his Indraprastha palace, sitting on his throne with Krishna there, Bhima was there, his wife there, Draupadi was there, Duryodhana came. He came, and he came in a bad mood. came with his sword, came like that, no. So the security guard at the door saw like this was coming in aggressive way. Better stop the guy. Duryodhana scolded at he was oversight, and he just stopped it. No. So as you enter the palace of Indraprastha, as you enter, there's one entrance hall, like a receiving hall. Receiving hall. So in this receiving hall was designed by one demon by the name of Maya Danava. Arjuna saved at one point. Arjuna saved this Maya Danava from a forest fire that Arjuna himself started. He started this fire because Krishna told him to start this fire because he wanted Arjuna to feed Agni Deva. Agni Deva that time was hungry, so he needed to eat a forest. So the only way he will eat is if you burn the forest. So from that pastime, Arjuna received a lot of what called celestial weapons from Agni Deva. So while the forest was burning, there was this demon who was living there. His name is Maya Danava. So out of compassion for this demon, this Arjuna saved this demon. And this demon, out of gratitude, he said, "Please tell me what I can do for you." So Arjuna was like, "I don't need anything." Then he said, "No problem. I'll give you this as a gift. This celestial hall, one celestial hall. It's what made from the illusory energy. Huh? So this hall is so special in what sense, anybody entering this palace will have to go through this hall first. So this hall is so special in the sense that if you come with a sincere heart, you don't have any bad intention, this hall will appear like a beautiful garden to you. It is like that. But if you enter it with some envy or some bad intention, this hall will be illusion for you. So when Duryodhana entered, he saw the floor. There's one part of the floor, it looked like there was water there. So he lifted his dhoti and he walked, ding, 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 and then he said, no water. Then there was one part that it seems like there was no water there, but actually there was a pond there. He walked to the pond, he fell into the pond. So when he fell into the pond, what was happening was, Yudhishthira Maharaj was there, Bhima was there, his mortal enemy was there. Bhima couldn't stand. He started laughing. Started laughing out loud. And when Bhima started laughing, of course the ladies there also started to laugh. Yudhishthira Maharaj saw this. He immediately told her, "Hey, don't laugh. Hey, don't laugh. Krishna was there. He said, "Hey, laugh. Don't care, laugh. Go ahead and laugh." So this Yudhishthira felt very, very bad. He immediately got off his throne. He quickly went there to Duryodhana and gave him dry clothes. He said, "I'm so sorry. Please come out." I gave him dry clothes. And Duryodhana, being so embarrassed, he was fuming inside. He was so embarrassed, so humiliated, fuming like anything. But he tried to act like, like that. Here he doesn't explain, but in Mahabharata it continues. The humiliation did not stop there. Right after he got dressed, nicely, Yudhishthira took Duryodhana to tour of the palace. So this palace, they have crystal doors made out of solid crystal. Our version is a glass door. Glass door. Sometimes you can't see, the glass is so clear you can't see. So that's what happened to Duryodhana. He just went right into the door, the glass door. Again, people started laughing. Again, he was burning inside. This is so humiliating, And then he will walk some more, and there will be a door, glass door, but the door will be open, but you think it's closed. And you go like that. Again, people will laugh. God, what is this stupid fella? So like that, he got humiliated. So from this incident, he left the palace, I mean, humiliation is like one level. He was ready to commit suicide. This is the Kshatriya mode, You were so humiliated, you cannot live, you must commit suicide. So Saguni saw this. Saguni saw this. He said, my dear Duryodhana, what are you so morose about? Huh? Be assured, law of karma works in that way. One day humiliation, next day, you are honored. Yes. One day happy, next day sad. You must be assured. He said, don't be so depressed. Let's go and meet your father. Let's hatch a plan. Let's ask him for his blessings. We must take revenge on this. So this is actually the beginning of the destruction of the Kaurava dynasty. This is the incident that Duryodhana comes back again and again when he's fighting the battle of Kurukshetra, when he's losing, his generals are dying, his Senapati are dying one by one. Krishna is knocking them off one by one. This Dronacharya, Karna, and all these fellows, one by one, even Bhishma, Deva, knocked down. He comes back to this incident again and again. He says, oh no, I must fight. Until all his 100 brothers died. Only him there alone. His army all gone already. He had to fight with Bhima, and when he fought with him, he kept, hitting his thigh, So even until that time, this is the incident that keeps burning in his heart, that destroyed his whole family. So this is where the story ends actually. So I was thinking, what can we learn from this? What can we learn from this? The first one, of course, is stated in the purport here. This Rajasuya sacrifice is a demonstration of the supremacy of being a devotee of Krishna. There's nothing that cannot be achieved by Krishna's blessings. So this is that's the first lesson. The second one that I felt was necessary was also to understand who is this Duryodhana? Why is Duryodhana? Why is he such an envious person? Okay, I thought it would be interesting to talk about that. So let's put ourselves in the shoes of Duryodhana when he was a teenager, when he was a young boy. Okay, when he was a teenager, when he was a young boy, he was called Yuvraj. Yuvraj means the next king. That means you're going to be the next king. And at the time, his father was the sitting king. King Dhritarashtra was the sitting king. When he was called Yuvraj, and he found out his father was the sitting king, so he thought, oh, I'm going to be the next king. He developed false pride. False pride. Okay. Even after hearing that, actually, sorry to tell you, your father is just a what they call temporary king, and he's sitting in only. The rightful kings are actually the Pandavas, but because they are too young, they cannot be kings, they cannot rule. Therefore, their uncle was sitting in the place. Even after hearing that, also he could not let go of the idea that no, I'm the next king. I'm the next king. That is number one, false pride. Number two, unfortunately for him, he had a father who was not only physically blind, but he was also spiritually blind. Very dangerous. When from the very childhood, he and his brothers, they were very envious of the Pandavas because of the threat they posed to him with the desire to become the next king. Even in childhood, they did so many things to undermine the Pandavas. And when this news came to King Dhritarashtra being very, very spiritually blind and also falsely attached, too much attached to his children, he just let it go. He did not reprimand Duryodhana. He did not teach them. He did not advise him. He did not tell him, "Hey, hello, don't do like this. This is not. These are your relations. Today you are envious of them. One day they will save your life. So don't make enemies with them." He did not do that. Dhritarashtra did not do that. He allowed him to do as he pleased. And you have to also understand, teenagers are, for those who are parents, teenagers are not stupid. Teenagers are the the best detectives in the world. And when they are teenagers, they are the best detectives of the world. Whatever weakness the parents show, the children will know. And whatever the parents' weakness there, they will exploit it. So Duryodhana, seeing his father being not only physically blind, but also morally blind, spiritually blind, this Duryodhana will emotional blackmail his father, and he did it very, very regularly. He wanted what he wanted, and he didn't care. His father don't give him means he would threaten, I will leave the kingdom, I will go and become a sage. The father, oh my son, please don't. Okay, okay, Nama, Nama, you do what you want to do. This is emotional blackmail. Children, you if you are a parent and your kids do this to you means that means they are highlighting your weakness. You better do something about it. You know. So time went on like that. He became supremely envious of the Pandavas, especially Bhima. Why? Because Bhima, even as a child, his strength was unlimited, and Bhima was a bully. Bhima was a bully. He will bully the Kauravas. He will bully particularly Duryodhana. He will bully him like anything. Why? Because he can. Like children today, so you go to school, one floor is very big, and the rest of you all small one. He will surely bully you one. So because of this, all of these incidents add up. They become they add up producing a child that is 100% spoiled. He was a spoiled kid. Uh, the Malay people they call this anak manja, spoiled brat, anak manja, anakku. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. No, that's what I was thinking of. Anakku Sazali. That was a very good movie. The whole movie was based on this actually. Anakku Sazali. Apollo became a big Buddha, just like Duryodhana. So, so I was thinking to myself, why this Duryodhana is so prominent. The reason why is because today in Kaliva, everybody is mini Duryodanas actually, mini Duryodanas, and also this pastime of Duryodhana emphasizes the point that children from the very beginning they should be trained in spiritual life. From the very beginning they should be trained in spiritual life. From the very beginning they should be sent to Gurukul. Uh, I met some Gurukul students while I was in Vrindavan. So these boys I mean, they were really nice. They were grown-up boys. They grown up. They were working in Vrindavan. One I think was some council worker. Another one was working in some trading company in Vrindavan. They they are Brajavasis. They went to Gurukul. They grew up. They are still there. So when I met them, and I asked them, I said, "You were Gurukulis here?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were here from this year to this year." I mean, then I asked them. I said, "What is it that you learned? What is it that you learned while you were in Gurukul?" He says, "Well, people think that we go to Gurukul, we learn only spiritual topics. We learn mantras. We chant mantras every day." And then when somebody asks us what the meaning of the mantra, which you don't know, no, it's not like that. What we learn here is the secret of having a successful life. Huh? Really? Please explain to me what is the secret. So the secret of successful life is to understand number one, who are you? Who are you? Are you this body? Am I this person's son or this person's daughter? Uh, are you there? No, you're not there. You are eternal spirit soul. And once you know you are the eternal spirit soul, next question you got to ask is, what is my occupation? What is my real job? What am I supposed to do? What is the ultimate goal of my life? And that's what you learn. And then everything else we learn is to support this idea. And when we graduate, we acquire skills that will serve us throughout our whole life. Not for some job that I'm going to get, don't know, for a few years, and then the boss will do some kokamaka, and then I'll lose my job, and then I go to another job, and then I got to learn again another skill there to do that job. No, this is all nonsense. When we graduate, we had enough skills and ability to learn everything that we need to learn for job, for family, for whatever on our own. We don't need teachers to teach us this. Wow, okay, this one is a new paradigm. So I never heard of this. Nobody explained it to me like this. Interesting. Huh? So even those days, actually, this is becoming apparent even more now, because in US, what's happening now in US in terms of job and workplace, big companies now, they give interviews. They don't bother looking at your degree. They don't bother at all. Why? Because they say what you learn in college all outdated today. It's useless. We employ you means we must retrain you. Everything also we must train you again. We must train you to forget what you've learned in the past, and you must learn something new. And we must train you again and again, because the industry is so competitive, the changing is so fast, that we have to train you every 3 months or 6 months. We have to train you. And this has been going on also. If you work in free trade zone, this is what they have been doing also. My sister just retired from work, and she very regularly, every once in 3 months, or going for training, going for training, going for training. I say, when are you working? I say, we work very little. We can train us a lot, because a lot of things is changing very, very fast. So this is the trend happening now in US. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because anything that happens in US and Europe, it will take at least 2 to 5 years for it to happen here. Hmm? So I was thinking to myself, these Gurukul boys, from the very beginning, they are taught how to become perfect gentleman and perfect gentlewoman. The most important information they need in life is already taught to them from the very beginning of life. Anything after that, they said you can learn now. Now got YouTube. What you want to learn, everything is there, free of charge. You don't need to go to school. You don't need tuition. All this is nonsense actually. You don't need. You really want to learn something, means you can go and learn that. I say, oh yeah, actually, I never thought of it. Actually, it was that time I remembered YouTube. Oh yeah, somebody told me long time ago, you can learn anything you want from YouTube, and it's true. You just key in how to dot dot dot, you get all the how to videos. How to do this, how to do that, how to, all the Coca marketing is also they'll teach there. It's unbelievable. So the lesson here that Durudana is teaching us is that number one. Oh, okay. Before I go there, um, so the question might be asked. The question might be asked: why did Krishna allow Dhritarashtra to have 100 sons, and why the sons are all like him, evil sons? Why? So this one is interesting. I don't know if you heard of this story or not, but I think it's worth telling now. One day after the Kurukshetra war, all Dhritarashtra's sons were all killed, all 100 sons killed. Krishna came to visit Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra asked, "Why did you allow this to happen to me? Why did this happen?" So Krishna told, he says, 100 lifetimes back, you were a king. You were out hunting in the jungle. Did you hear this? No, okay. What is that? So this king was out hunting in the jungle, and he was having a bow and arrow. He was trying to shoot a bird. I don't know what, vulture or eagle, one bird. This bird was very, very intelligent. This king was kept shooting arrows, and this bird kept avoiding it. Kept avoiding, and this king became frustrated. Out of frustration, he discovered that this bird had 100 chicks. He had 100 chicks. So out of spite, this king killed every one of those chicks. And when this bird, the father, saw this, he said, he cursed this king. He says, I wish that you will experience the pain of losing 100 children. So that was a curse. So 100 lifetimes after that, this Dhritarashtra had 100 sons, and all of them got killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. So the question Dhritarashtra asked was, But why 100 lifetimes? Why 100 lifetimes? Why not, that life after that, the next life I have? He says, you have to go through 100 lifetimes. Why? Because you needed to perform sacrifice and austerity to acquire the merit to have sons. To have children, you must perform austerity to be qualified to have children. So when I heard this, I said, Allah, I mean, we know people, so much desire in the heart. Oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. So they go to Karma Kanda, they perform so many sacrifices to acquire so much wealth, so much this, and so much they have to sacrifice to get something, some material thing. Then I'm thinking to myself, this king lived 100 lifetimes. He lived and he performed sacrifice to acquire king's children like this Duryodhana. And what happened? They were not his servant. They were his enemies. They all sons came, 100 sons. They were sons of King Dhritarashtra. They were not good sons. They were his enemies. And what happened? They all died, and he felt the pain. So you can ask yourself, I know we pray to God, God, please give me this, please give me that. And we are thinking in our mind, oh, if I get this means I'll be very happy. This incident actually put that into question mark. What is it actually? What is it that actually makes us happy? Not material things. That we know already. But yet again, we each time we go in front of the Lord, Lord, please, I need lottery ticket. My neighbor got a nice car, I buy better car than that. All that kind of desires we have. So understanding this, you will understand why in Srimad Bagavatam, every time the Supreme Lord comes upon his pure devotees, he will ask, my pure devotee, please, I want to give you a boon. Please ask anything you like. Huh? The Supreme Lord will ask, please ask me anything you like, I can give. And when the Supreme Lord says, I'll give you anything, means they can give anything. They can ask anything. I want to be king, I want to be a ruler of a planet, I want to, you can ask anything. But the pure devotees, you notice what they will ask. My dear Lord, please bless me lifetime after lifetime. I always want to be in your service. And please bless me that I will never forget your lotus feet. This is what they ask for. They always ask for service and remembrance of the Lord. Why? Because they understand these material things have really got no value. This story of King Dhritarashtra's 100 lifetimes performing sacrifice to have children is a demonstration that any form of temporary material gain is not really worth your while. Because why? He'll come for some time and then he will go. You don't want him to go, but he'll go. If time's up, time's up. You have no say. So that is a interesting lesson here. And also, Duryodhana is actually in this saga of Mahabharata. He actually is a very great assistant to Krishna. He is a great assistant to Krishna because Krishna's mission was Paritaranayam Sadhuna Vinasha Duskita. He came to kill demons. So besides Jarasandha, besides Sisupala, Duryodhana also was another one who helped Krishna to kill as many demons as possible to achieve that goal as possible. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Any questions? What questions, Anataji?
Ada soalan?